Hi, my name is Lewis, and I am an asshole. And if you are a successful small business owner, you probably are too. And hopefully you don't spill your damn drink on your shirt right before you leave. I can't wear white clothes. I don't know what it is. Other people can get away with it. I wear white clothes, I wind up looking like a 2-year-old. But on to the video. If you're a successful small business owner, then you're probably familiar with the concept that if you're going to be successful, that sometimes, and in fact very often in the pursuit of your vision, you have to be an asshole. And I want you to think about this because you may think this is some arrogant, cocky, dogmatic video, but I want you to think about the decisions that small business owners and business owners in general have to make every single day. Let's take the decision that just heightens the definition of asshole as far as it goes. Let's say that you're hiring new people. You're hiring new people for a new position, and you're saying we're going to give them this much time to get the concept before we decide to let them go. If they understand everything after this much time, we're going to train them, mentor them, work with them, but if they don't get this far in this much time, we're going to let them go. What you're doing there is you're telling the person at the end of that, if they haven't accomplished what they're supposed to, hey, listen, I know that you've gotten this far, but we need you to get this far. And frankly, it's not worth it to me to figure out if you'll be able to do the job. It's not worth it to me to continue investing time into you. It's not worth it to me to figure out if you're worth having a job that allows you to pay your mortgage and feed your family. Because I'd rather find somebody else that may be able to do it in a little bit less time. You know, just to make life a little bit more convenient for me. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And I don't really care what the repercussions are to you or your family. I don't care if you're able to find another job. I don't care if you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. That's not my problem. And when they look at you, and eventually, if you're an employer, somebody's going to look at you and ask this question. They're going to look at you and say something like, how do I pay my rent? What do I do now? You're going to have to look at them and understand deep in your heart that it's not your responsibility to care. And that hits hard to a lot of people. But I want you to think about it from a different context. I want you to think about it in terms of, let's say, being in the service industry. Let's say you're in the business that I'm in. And let's say you hire somebody and you give them a little more time, and a little more time, and a little more time. And they just suck at servicing the systems that they work on. And then you have a group of 7 customers walk in, and they're on a sales team. And they are working on a serious, big project. And they need this little device to work so that they can do a presentation to another company that they're trying to sell something to. And your person that you are giving, continuing to put time and effort into works on that device for that person. You charge them, they leave, and that device fails right in the middle of their presentation. And the company that was going to buy their stuff decides, you know what? We don't want to deal with you. You can't even get shit right in your own sales pitch. Now, those 7 salespeople go back to their company and deliver the bad news, and those 7 salespeople lose their job. You know why those 7 salespeople lost their job? Because the one person who worked for you couldn't do their job. See, being a small business owner is not just about being afraid of being an asshole. Rather, it's about being okay to be an asshole right here so that you can get across a great vision in the real world, so that you can do real good by the people that actually deserve it. And that means that you're going to have to make decisions that suck. Everybody goes into small business. It seems like this ridiculous epidemic nowadays. Everybody goes into small business with this idea that they're going to change everything. They're going to take it upon themselves. They're going to take on the responsibility of making the world a fair place. And that is an idealistic and respectable goal that unfortunately is not a goal that you can reach in the real world. Because in the real world, running a business is about managing a finite amount of resources. And a finite amount of resources can never do an infinite amount of good. By refusing to fire the person that you realized that you knew deep down could not do their job, that person now got 7 other people fired. Because you could not focus on the greater vision. See, the people who succeed in business, the people who are always defined as the great assholes, are the people who were able to see the greater vision. They're the people who were able to see the forest for the trees. And there are so many different ways that this can affect a company. If you hire a purchaser that doesn't do their job properly, if you hire a purchaser that buys all the wrong stuff and that buys too much of the wrong stuff, what happens when the company has to pay somebody out of a pension fund? What happens when that company has a bad quarter? What happens when that company goes bankrupt as a result of that one person not doing their job properly? You thought you were doing something nice. You were giving them 2 to 4 additional weeks to get their act together. And because you decided to give somebody a chance when they shouldn't have been given a chance because you didn't want to be an asshole, your company is now bankrupt and people cannot pay their bills. Not one person, but multiple people, dozens of people, hundreds of people. And this happens very, very easily. And it's something that you have to be thinking about with every single decision that you make. You could be dealing with a vendor that is consistently screwing you over. And you may base your prices to your own customers on what parts cost to you. You may be basing prices to your own customers based on lead times from vendors, based on defect rates from vendors. What if every single one of your customers could be paying 15% less, while you gain 20% on your profits, all by you being an asshole to a vendor? All by you saying, hey, listen, vendor, I know that you've stuck by us through thick and thin. I know that you have helped us in certain ways. But for the past 6 months, your quality has fell and fell and fell, and you don't seem to give a fuck. So we're not paying for this order because nothing in this order worked, and we're going to move on to buying from your direct competitor. A lot of people would say, that's an asshole thing to do. The vendor may look at you and say, that's an asshole thing to do. But are you looking to satisfy one vendor? Or are you looking to satisfy all of your employees and all of your customers? And above all else, yourself and your own bottom line. You have to think about this when running a business. Are you being an asshole when you lie? Most people would say that you're being an asshole when you lie. Well, when I first found the space that I work out of right now, one thing to understand about my business is a big part of the success of my business, right now in the specific niche that I'm in, is that I'm right across the street from a bunch of NYU dorms and a bunch of New School dorms filled with people that that get drunk and wasted every single day and pour that alcohol all over their $3,000 products. It is beautiful. Someday Apple will come to their senses and put liquid proofing in these products that's equal to what you can get from a Lenovo that costs 30% as much. But until they do so, it will be like printing money. A big part of my business's success is location. And it's a location that I most likely never would have gotten if I did the right thing and told the truth. Because I had an honest conversation with one of the brokers that found me my space. I had an honest conversation with them. And you know what happened as a result of that honest conversation? They said, this guy is never going to be willing to give you the space. And then I had my friend call that person back, and we had a much different conversation. We had a much different conversation about a much more different individual who would be renting it, with a different history in business, with a different history in his bank accounts, with a different history in so many different regards. And that broker was very, very happy to hear about that different history. So you know what happened? I met that landlord. And I met that landlord with my bullshit story and a bunch of bullshit paperwork that supported my bullshit story. And you know what he did? He gave me a nice long lease. And that nice long lease was based on crap that I pulled out of my ass. And because of that, I have a successful business that's been paying rent for many years, that supports my staff, that supports employees that get living wages, not that $8 to $20, not the $8, $12 an hour crap, but living wages off of the business that I have. Hundreds of thousands of customers get served every single day that are happy with the content that I make at this business. And as a result of having this business, I've been able to make enough money to film an educational series that teaches thousands upon thousands of people, 1.2 million views a month, how to do component level board repair all around the world just by being an asshole. I had an idea as to what I could do with that space. I had a vision in mind. I saw it. I knew exactly what would happen if I got that space as opposed to any other space. I knew what was going to happen. I knew good things would come. And I was completely, utterly, unapologetically willing to be an asshole to get it. And it worked. And it's something that I want you to think about. It's something that I want you to reflect on. And I just want you to think about this. Do you have sustainable business relationships when you're dealing with your vendors, when you are dealing with your employees, when you are dealing with potential landlords, when you're dealing with lenders? Again, I've talked in videos about how there are people who have called me an asshole. I asked them for a loan. They didn't give me a loan. They wanted a partnership. And when the business failed, it's funny. They stopped being partners in the business that failed, and then they started treating it like it was a loan. They started treating it like I owe them that money back. But then it's time for me to go back deep down and be an asshole and remind myself and remember that successes in business are never the nice guy. Successes in business are never the people that everybody likes. They're the people that most people like, but a small percentage really fucking hate. And I gotta say, hey man, I know that you see it as a loan right now, but you demanded a partnership. And partnership means that when it fails, that you fail with me. And you know what that person does when I say that? They look at me like I'm the asshole. But you know who would be a bigger asshole? You know who would be a bigger asshole? If I did what he wanted at the expense of my staff. If I told the people here, hey, we can't have paid sick days no more. If I told the people coming for classes, hey, we can't have classes anymore. I'm selling all this equipment to pay back this person that doesn't want to keep up their end of the deal. Then who's being an asshole? You know who's being an asshole? For real? I'm being the asshole. I would be the bad asshole in that situation because I would be screwing over all the people who could benefit from what it is I can offer so that I could be nice to one person. You have to look at the greater good that your business can do for the people that you deal with and for society as a whole when you're making decisions. And you have to cut out the individual when you're making these decisions. You have to understand the fact that the individual has just nothing to do with the greater good that your business can do, and that when you focus on the individual, that you're not focusing on the many individuals that may end up getting screwed over when you are busy getting torn down by your emotions thinking about one person. When you think about one, you're forgetting the 7. When you think about 7, you're forgetting the 100. When you're thinking about the 10 people that work at that vendor that you're saying, listen, you've been fucking us over. We're not paying for this order and we're not dealing with you anymore. You are forgetting the thousands of customers that could be saving $100 to $200 per job if you were to simply use somebody else. So I want you to introduce yourself to your inner asshole. Wow, I can't believe I just said that on camera. I want you to introduce yourself to a version of you that is not afraid to be hated by small percentages of people so that you can do a greater good by a greater percentage of people. And I don't want you to start using this as a dogmatic excuse for fucking people over. I don't want you to start saying, I am going to actively screw people so that I can potentially help others. Don't lie to yourself, don't bullshit yourself, and don't make crap up that's not true, just so that you can make yourself feel better. But when you're making the decisions that you know to be the right decisions, those decisions that just get you a little bit of tingle in the back of your head when you think about them, because you know that they're right, you know it's the right thing to do, you know it's the proper thing to do for all involved, and you know it's the most sustainable thing for your business, please stop feeling guilty about it and realize that that is your job. And if you are not up to do your job, if you are not up to be an asshole, then you're probably not up for being a business owner. That's it for today.